What's going on, YouTube? I am Colin Wallace Jr., and I talk all things business that impacts you. So that could be retail, consumer, tech, anything that impacts you, the everyday person. You will hear about it right here on this channel. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. I want to talk a bit today about AI and everything that we're hearing just kind of in the news, the media, what have you, whether you're an investor, whether you're running a business, or whether you're just a regular employee who's worried about, is this stuff coming to take my job? We can't really escape hearing about AI and what's going on, ChatGPT and all that stuff these days. So want to give you a little bit of a framework in terms of how to think about this and how to manage this disruption that we know is going to come. What this kind of feels like to me is kind of like, obviously I wasn't there for it, but, kind of the invention of the computer and how that kind of changed things. And then the internet coming in, and this sort of feels like that next big wave has the potential to change a lot of how we live and work as a society. So how do you kind of prepare for that? How do you, feel comfortable with what's coming down the pipe? I think the first thing, of course, is education, right? So, of course, we're just kind of seeing headlines and that sort of thing, but can you go that one level deeper and, almost start, I don't want to say upskilling just yet, but really just getting kind of the lay of the land, building a bit of a foundation and understanding what the possibilities are of this technology, what some of the experts are saying, taking some of those free courses that you might see online, and really just kind of getting that foundational 101 understanding of what AI is and what it can do so far. I think that's number one, because that will start getting the gears turning in terms of, how you might want to move in terms of, your career or your business or the companies you want to invest in or anything of that nature. So, obviously right now, much of the AI, but kind of before ChatGPT we kind of knew about chat bots and those sorts of things. But, obviously there's a huge expansion of the possibilities of this technology now, and it's growing at this exponential rate. I want to get a good foundational understanding of what the possibilities are and what they're not at this point in time, and kind of where experts are saying that things are going. And then that way you can kind of have a great foundation to start from to understand where you want to go, whether that's as an investor, as a business leader, or in terms of your own career. If you want to make a change, if you feel like something, if this is something that's really going to impact your area of work. So that kind of leads directly into number two. So just understanding and identifying some of the possible applications in your niche, right? In your field of study, in your field of work, your field of expertise, whatever that happens to be. And I would say don't be scared if you feel like this is going to severely impact your area of work to the point where you might be out of a job. It would be better for you to understand that now and kind of understand the way that this will change your career. And then that way you can get out ahead of it. You can be kind of on the forefront of, helping, whether it's your employer or companies that you work with, to adapt to that change. Because I think at this point, a lot of people are in the same boat of not knowing what's going on. So if you're just that one level ahead, you're kind of at, 201 instead of 101 of understanding. That can make you valuable in the marketplace. It's kind of like when social media, started coming up and becoming this huge thing. All the experts were young people in their teens and 20s, because the people who are further along in their career didn't really see it coming, didn't want to kind of take the time to really understand that and dive deep into it at that stage of their careers. So if you're one of those people that is keen to kind of learn and understand and think about these things, you can be an expert before 99% of the general, working population. So that brings me then to number three, which is starting to kind of invest in your skills, your talent. And again, whether you are running a business or you're an employee or you're an investor, it's time now to start thinking about, what are those key skills that I'm going to be building within myself, that I'm looking for in a hire, that I'm looking for in a company, in terms of how they're building that into their strategy, and the types of talent that they're bringing in. This is something that's obviously going to have a huge impact on people, and you want to make sure that you have the right people internally to help drive that ship in terms of where your company's going to go. And of course, this doesn't mean just go out and hire a bunch of software developers, or if you are a software developer feeling like your job might be taken by ChatGPT. Now, I think there's a huge role to play in this transition for the soft skills in the bucket of being a critical thinker, being creative, being someone who's not afraid of change, being someone who can learn quickly, think on their feet, adapt, all these different skills that maybe traditionally people didn't always have, or people kind of built a specialty or an area of expertise and got really comfortable in that, and then they see certain changes happening and it causes them to panic. If you can be one of those people that gets excited about that change, gets out in front of it, gets out ahead of it, learns as much as you can, and surrounds yourself with people and organizations that think the same way, then you can come out way ahead of this, as opposed to companies that go the way of the blockbusters and the list is long of companies that couldn't adapt to change, right? So fourth then, and this is getting a little bit deeper, but essentially when you're looking at, if you've made a decision as a business or an investor, an employee, what have you, of which service provider you're going to use. So whether it's you're finding ways to use ChatGPT, I think one area that's going to be a huge debate, obviously, is this area of data security, right? So if you're using a ChatGPT or something like that, even though you're paying for it, that they're using your data on the back end, right? So is that a company that you want to be setting yourself up with, or is it better to build something out internally? And some of the things you have to think about is, do you even have enough data to feed those models and to make it as robust as something that you would get from an outside provider? Just something to think about, because as powerful as this stuff is, these companies are also still learning, and there's no way they're not going to be using your data to help their company improve and get better and that sort of thing. So if that's something that you're comfortable with, then okay. Otherwise, you might want to consider how you build that competency in-house. And then lastly, just being able to experiment, iterate, and knowing that some of this is going to be, whether it's, again, doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, whether this is good or bad, whether you're, again, a CEO or the lowest level employee in the food chain, or an investor looking at different companies, there's going to be an element of trial and error in this. Not every company is going to figure it out the right way. Not every company is going to be, the next Facebook, the next Google, what have you. We're all figuring this out, and there's going to be an element of time and money and resources that, you might feel are quote unquote wasted. But that's all in the name of progress, right? I don't want to get too dramatic in all of this, but that's essentially it, right? We're all going to have to learn, figure this out. And I think the people that embrace it, run head first into what's coming and learn and iterate and adapt, are the companies that are going to come out ahead, just as they were when, social media became a big thing, when the internet became a big thing, and when computers became a big thing. And if you go into it with that mentality, I've got no doubt that you can be successful as well. So again, if you found this valuable, like, comment, subscribe. Would love to have you back, and we'll do this again sometime. Cheers. Bye.